civil rights organization based in Israel that when it started, it just fought terrorism in court. Most of you are familiar with the organization and with its achievements throughout the years. We were able to sue and bring to justice terror organizations and state-sponsored terrorism, banks that provide financial services to organizations, and recently the social media companies, Facebook, Twitter, Google, that assist organizations, all being litigated in Israel, United States, and all over the world. We've been able to get compensations to the terror victims and literally stop funding to terror organizations. Later on, when Israel enemies realized that they cannot beat Israel militarily, and despite the wars they launched against us and the terror waves they unleashed against us, we are still here. They started using a different type of weapon, a very devastating one, non-conventional one, called BDS and lawfare. And we found ourselves fighting on these fronts as well. We have cases going on against those who boycott Israel, which I probably will speak about later on, and engage with combating lawfare, where Israel enemies try to bring IDF soldiers to the International Criminal Court, indicting them for war crimes, when Israel's enemies try to use tribunals around the world that had extraterritorial jurisdiction to inflict Israel with war crimes, we are trying to assist as an NGO. And perhaps I will just illustrate what this last part, because in this very moment, Israel started a war in Gaza. The shelters opened in Ashkelon and other cities in the south. As far as we know, the Prime Minister left our beautiful convention back to Israel. And Israel started attacking in Gaza. And we're gonna view and see the same scenario again, where a lot of casualties will occur in Gaza, a lot of civilians, the uncombatant, will be killed in Gaza as a result of Israel's attacks, and Israel will be blamed for war crimes. And there is a major need to solve this dilemma, to solve this problem. In this current situation, this current law of war, the Geneva Convention that Marlene spoke about, does not allow Israel or other democracies to defend themselves in a way that ultimately they will not be blamed for war crimes. So to this extent, we are organizing a conference in Israel. I hope you guys are gonna be part of it. We send you invitations. To deal with this dilemma of how democracies can defend themselves, how Israel can defend itself in this war. And just to give you an example, I was called to by the Foreign Ministry to deal with the UNICEF reports. You know, every year, UNICEF is coming up with a report about the children's rights abuse in conflicted areas. And this year, the Foreign Ministry of the State of Israel decided that perhaps there should be some NGOs from Israel's side to come and participate in this report to see if they can balance the picture, because so far, UNICEF was assisted by NGOs pro-Palestinians or against the Israeli NGOs. So we came to the meeting, and I told the head of UNICEF, very nice Canadian lady, that there is a problem, because we will not be able to balance the picture. In 2018, it's an annual report, there were a lot of children killed in Gaza as a result of Israeli attacks on the border, you know, the March of Return, the phenomenon of tens of thousands of civilians from Gaza marching into the border of Israel, trying to infiltrate and go into Israel, pave the way to the militants in Gaza to go and kidnap Israeli soldiers and civilians. And at the same time, there were no one kid killed in Israel. So whatever you do, and we're very privileged that you called us up to even the picture, we cannot balance it. The only way to balance this picture is to come and say who is really responsible for the death of the children in Gaza. Who sent these children to the border? Who paid their family $200 per child to go into the border? Who pushed them? Who organized buses, tens and hundreds of buses to bring these children into the border? And when these children got killed as a result of IDF attacks, the blame is on Hamas. This is our way to try and fight these allegations of war crimes against the IDF soldiers.